Hello and welcome. I'm Melinda Akinlami. Tonight, security operatives kill one armed robber and arrest 4 others following their failed attempt to raid a commercial bank in the Federal Capital Territory. Shiites allege killing of one of their members after security operatives moved to disperse them during a protest in Sokoto. Police deny allegation. We continue our review of government activities in the outgoing year today. We turn our attention to how the economy fared in 2019. And over 70 people killed in a massive vehicle bomb during a morning rush hour in the Somali capital, Mogadishu.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's budget 2020 looks set on course as crude oil prices keep steady above $67 a barrel in the Christmas trade-in.
And on sports news tonight, Everton's resurgence under Carlo Ancelotti continues as the veteran Italian tactician secures his second victory in 3 days.
What could have been a successful robbery of a commercial bank in the nation's capital, Abuja, was averted by security operatives today. A combined team of the police, army and DSS engaged the armed robbers who had gained entrance into the commercial bank for 3 hours before 4 of them were arrested and 1 shot dead. The incident brought commercial activities and vehicular movement in the area to a halt while it lasted.
Traffic at a standstill as residents gather to witness the operation to arrest some armed robbers who stormed this first-generation bank at Mpape, a suburb of Abuja. A joint security operation led by the Commissioner of Police in the FCT locked down the area as they fire tear gas canisters into the building with the robbers trapped inside. As the policeman watches from the rooftop of the bank, the crowd is dispersed with tear gas. Others watch from a distance as one of the robbers is arrested by the security operatives. The efforts of a security team yields more results as 3 other robbers are arrested after killing one in a shootout as he tried to escape. The joint security team later combs the building as they march out staff of the bank into a waiting Hilux. Some eyewitnesses narrate the account of the incident.
I there here since morning around something 9. Policeman, their security come out. When they come out, don't come out with all of them. They tie their mouth with their both hand with leg.
Who tied them like that?
Now the armed robbers. When the security come out, now they tell us so. Then tie them for security room here. The criminals enter inside. Then in told us as they cease.
Around 11 sharp, there was a gunshot 3 times. So what I was hearing, armed robber thief. So I run to check what was going on. I discovered that, yeah, that's armed robber actually. And they were robbing. Then towards 11:30, that was when the police started coming. So it was encouraging.
The crowd hails the DPO of Mpape police station for the successful operation as they beseech her car. With normalcy restored in the area, the FCT Police Commissioner, Balachi Roma, later confirmed in a telephone chat with Channels Television the arrest of a staff of the bank who allegedly acted as an insider for the robbers.
This video clip was sent in by an eyewitness showing the clash between some Shiite members and the police in Sokoto on Friday. The Shiites are accusing the police of killing one of their members during the protest and injuring several others. But the police have denied the allegation, insisting that its officers only dispersed members of the group with tear gas to restore calm in the Sokoto metropolis. The State Command Public Relations Officer, Mohammed Sadiq, says the police only put a stop to an attempt by the group to cause chaos along the old airport road. The Sokoto State Police Command calls for calm as peace has since been restored in the area and asked members of the public to go about their lawful businesses without any fear, as the command has placed adequate security arrangement to prevent any recurrence. Staying with security matters, 4 of the kidnapped men from Keti village on the outskirts of the nation's capital, Abuja, have been returned after paying various amounts in ransom. Channels Television had on December the 24th reported the kidnap of the residents, with the police claiming to have secured the release of the 2 men. The return of the 4 men may bring some respite to their families, but the scared villagers told our correspondent Kayla Megwa that with one bad road and no security, they may be prone to more kidnapping.
It is the end of a 3-day ordeal. 4 of the residents of Keti, a suburb in the nation's capital, have just been returned home after spending 3 days in the den of kidnappers who attacked the village on December 23rd, 2019. The police had responded to the distress call at the time of the incident,
where we engaged them in a gun duel, a fierce one at that.
One of the victims released on Boxing Day is 32-year-old Abdulaziz Suleiman, a newspaper vendor who, after years of saving, built this house in Keti and has been living here for 2 years with his wife and 2 children. He recounts his ordeal and the ransom he had to pay to be released.
Initially, they were saying for 5 million. But as I explained today that I'm just a vendor, I'm selling newspaper. They now started with they bringing the money from 5 million to 3 million. So I have to call my people. As they call me in the evening that they have raised 500. This one, their time they raised 400 that time, their own still remain 100,000. So if 2 of us can raise 1 million, maybe they will release us. So as they call us that the money have been complete, so we told them, they say no problem.
Esther Phillip is the wife of another released kidnapped victim, Mr. Egwu Phillip. She's ecstatic her husband has come home, though according to her, he was injured when he tried to escape. She's still worried that fear has caused a lot of the residents to desert the village, and there is still no security presence in Keti.
They collected 1,015,000 recharge card.
From who? From you?
No, from the other victim. They bring the money. I don't know how they raise the money. But it's only Almighty God that knows how they raise the money. So you
didn't have to contact your relations?
I had no phone. They collected my my son's phone, my husband's phone, and my phone.
Keti sure has a lot of places of worship, such as this one right behind me. There's also the question of how effective the vigilante in Keti is. Now, while the villagers commend security operatives for ensuring that things didn't get worse on the day of the kidnapping of the 23rd, there's still a call for that security outpost to ensure that there's security at this village and to fix the roads in and out of the village. That way people can live safe lives in Keti village. There's also the fear that the kidnappers might come back and turn this village into some sort of money-making pot. That situation is one that the villagers are still very afraid of. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.
Moving on to other stories, the President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, says the 9th Assembly will be looking forward to passing the Electoral Reform Amendment Bill in the new year, as well as other pending bills that require urgent attention. Senator Lawan explains that the early passage of the 2020 budget estimate into law is to help the executive begin implementation in January. He was speaking at a grand reception organized by the Yobe State government to honor him and the State Minister of Power and Housing, Mr. Abubakar Aliyu.
We are going to work very hard to ensure that we pass the petroleum industry bill before the end of 2020 by the grace of God. We will also resume the work on electoral reforms, the electoral bill amendment. Already we have some requests, and then the constitutional amendments to ensure that our electoral process is smooth, and we improve on the integrity. When you are talking about security architecture, you don't look at an individual state. We have to work hard to ensure that the security architecture works for the entire country, because even if you dislodge them here, if the security architecture elsewhere is weak, they will move there and become a nuisance. And so we are working hard to ensure that we overhaul the entire security architecture for the betterment of security in Nigeria.
To infrastructure, the ongoing reconstruction of the APAPA-OSHODI Expressway, being funded by Dangote Group, will be completed within the scheduled time of 2 years. This is a reassurance by the Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, during an inspection of the 32-kilometer road project today. The minister was accompanied on the tour by the president of Dangote Group, Mr. Aliko Dangote, and officials of the ministry, expressed satisfaction at the level of work, despite challenges like electricity cables and water pipes hampering the pace. The project, which began in April, covers Creek Road through Liverpool, Tin Can to Mile 2, and stretches through Oshodi, Anthony, Oroshoki, Ifako to the Old Tollgate. The federal government had engaged AG Dangote Construction Limited to fund the 73 billion naira project to find a permanent solution to the APAPA traffic gridlock. Staying with transportation in Lagos State, the government says it's working on expanding 4 major junctions causing traffic congestion. The Commissioner for Transportation, Mr. Frederick Oladende, says the affected areas include the second roundabout on Lekki-Ekpe Expressway, Allen Avenue Roundabout, Ikotun, and Maryland.
Gridlock. This is a major problem Lagos residents and motorists have had to face over the years. An issue several administrations have tried to tackle with not much success. This conference, called by the Lagos State Ministry of Transportation, saddled with the responsibility of ensuring free flow of traffic across the state, aims to resolve this challenge. The focus is on what the government will do to reduce traffic congestion within the different axes of the metropolis.
We are focusing on 4 junctions this morning. The first one is the second Lekki roundabout, and what we're going to be doing is to signalize that roundabout to increase the capacity, to reduce the conflict at that point in time so that we can free traffic. The second junction that we're looking at is the alley roundabout, and so that roundabout needs to be taken out and it needs to be signalized, and then over time roads like Aromire will be dualized just to cater for that demand. The third one is the Ikotun roundabout, which is struggling with the demand there. And then the last one is Maryland. There's a lot of demand that comes from the Mobology Bank Anthony section. And you remember that there are 3 statutes that was placed at that junction, which has reduced the capacity. So that will be taken out.
He clears the air about the state government's policy on bus reforms.
The bus reform is still on. The bus reform is, the government is working on Zone 1, which is the Ikeja section, and a lot of buses will come from the Ikeja terminal. Something was written in the papers yesterday that the Ikeja terminal had been abandoned, or Oyingbo had been abandoned. That's not true.
Without wasting time, the Commissioner and his counterparts in the Information Ministry and other agencies involved in traffic management moved to Maryland in Ikeja and Lekki second roundabout in Ibeju-Lekki to inspect the ongoing expansion to ease vehicular movement.
I seek the cooperation of Lagosians and the patience that they have given to the Babatunde Sanwo-Olu administration, that they should continue to be patient. We are working, we are thinking every day on how to resolve the traffic problem and some other challenges that we have. We are enjoying them to obey traffic rules and then to be disciplined while we are driving and to consider other road users, those who are driving and those who are not driving. Okada people should not go where they are not supposed to go.
Please, when you get to this roundabout, while the construction is going on, give way to traffic already on the roundabout. Secondly, if your exit from this roundabout is not free, you don't need to block it for other motorists to come from any of the adjoining streets. Be your brother's keeper.
60 other points in the state prone to traffic gridlock have been identified And the state government says it's determined to solve these issues one at a time until Lagos is rid of gridlock.
In part two, after the break, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Professor Koinsola Ajayi, suggests steps to checking executive excesses, especially when court orders are disobeyed. That's in a moment. Join us again.